Welcome everyone and greetings. Welcome to a special online event today called the 3 Essential Chinese Reflexology Points for Women at 40, 50 and Beyond. Ancient wisdom to balance your hormones, remove energetic blocks, and reignite your vitality. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I'm really delighted to be here with you, learning right alongside with you from Chinese Reflexology author and Dragon Spirit guide Holly C. Her teachings invite people to connect with the greater life force energy around you, to integrate an important energy component into Chinese reflexology sessions. And we're going to particularly focus today on the needs of women in the latter half or third act of life. Holly's a remarkable teacher. She's known for her Dragon Spirit work, which is a combined modality and brand unique to Holly that accelerates balance and healing by aiding in the release of negative emotions and subconscious thoughts held in the body. So she's got many decades of experience now and is really quite a thought leader in the field of reflexology, and we're delighted to be learning from you today. So welcome, Holly.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who's joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to join us and to learn more about Chinese reflexology.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. So we're going to have this hour with Holly, and we're going to learn as much as we can from her in this time. And then at the end of the call, we're going to take a little time to share about an upcoming program where you can go much deeper and take a bigger commitment to your evolution and healing. And so that we're going to talk about that program towards the end. So, Holly, I'd love for you to share a bit about what brought you to Chinese reflexology and really devoting your life to this path.
Sure. Actually, I used to work in high tech. So for about 10 years, I worked in the internet industry. It's because, well, I'm Asian. I did the good Asian daughter thing, went to good school, got a good job, went into the corporate world. But really, my heart wasn't into it. But what I would do, and I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this, is that you kind of just suck it up and you do a good job. And I would have all of the let's call them the red flag projects dumped on me. The ones where we got the clients from hell and the team was off track. We were way behind schedule, and they would give me those projects because they could count on me to just dig in and get it done. And that's what I would do year after year after year. And it got to a point where I was working at this one job where I worked Christmas Day, I worked New Year's Day, 2 years in a row. That's how demanding it was. And, way past 40 hours a week. And they gave me one of those red flag projects. And then they gave me a second red flag project because they knew me, Holly, wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't complain. I just shut up, put my head down and get the work done because I thought if I do the work, then I will get recognized for it. And obviously that's not what happened. It just meant I would get more and more of it. And eventually what happened was my body broke down, and the stress of the job and the hours, and I wasn't looking after myself. I was just like focused on, get the stuff done. This is what I have to do. And I experienced what I refer to as my year of illness. I had all these weird ailments strike me, like one after the other. One time I was passing blood in my urine in the middle of the night. I had a weird sort of, I'd say headache, but that's really a mild term. It was like, I was diagnosed as having the meninges, which is the lining of the brain was swollen, and that lasted for about 10 days. And then I had weird things going on with my reproductive system and stuff like that. So finally, one day, my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, he said to me, "You should go see my Chinese reflexologist." And I thought, reflexology, isn't that where they rub your feet? How's that going to help me? But we made a deal where he would see my naturopath for a month and I'd go see his reflexologist for a month. So I went to see this guy, and it was so foreign to me that I didn't want to go back. But because I had made that deal with my husband, I went back and I got reflexology twice a week for several weeks in a row. And what happened though was that my health started to stabilize. So I went from wondering what weird ailment is going to strike me next. I was so sick that I sometimes, like when I had that weird headache, I was actually wondering if I was dying. And suddenly through the reflexology, all of that, downward spiral stopped and my health stabilized and I started to feel better. And that's what inspired me to learn the reflexology. The other thing too, which I want to mention because specifically this is a workshop, we're talking about women in their 40s and beyond, is that the symptoms I was experiencing, not just the weird ailments, I was also experiencing things that were a lot like menopause, only I was in my early 30s at the time. So I had my skin on my face was like really terrible. um, I had like trouble sleeping, really terrible insomnia. And I would wake up and my pillow would be drenched in sweat just because I got so hot all of a sudden. And I was so irritable too, like so much negativity. Like I just thought, okay, it's the stress. But what I didn't realize at that time, because I didn't understand reflexology or Chinese medicine, was that it was because of these disharmonies going on in my energy meridians, which I'm going to be talking more about in this workshop today. So when you experience these symptoms, Western medicine looks at, okay, it's the hormones or it's this element or that, and it's very much about body parts. Whereas Chinese medicine and Chinese reflexology is more about, looking at the whole person. And so the things that go on, like a lot of those symptoms that women experience when they're older, it's actually not so much about just the hormones. It's about the underlying disharmonies going on in the body, because that's what was happening to me in my early 30s. And it wasn't menopause. It was these disharmonies that I'm going to talk more about.
Hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I mean, it's pretty dramatic what you had to go through in order to get on the path that you're on. And so let's talk a little bit more about the energy meridians. It makes a lot of sense that the upstream from a lot of diseases or issues is an imbalance in our energetic system. And if you could share a little bit more about like how things specifically get out of whack, and then how do we begin to address them with reflexology, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the number one thing, like the cornerstone of Chinese medicine and Chinese reflexology, it's something I'll share with you at the end of the call. Actually, I'm just joking. I know a lot of people do that. I don't do that. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. It's qi. So qi is your life force energy. Everybody has qi. I have qi, you have qi, animals have qi, plants have qi, rocks have qi, the earth has qi. Everything is made up of this energy. So using Star Wars terms, it would be like the force, okay? So what the thing is, in your body, you have these energy meridians that circulate this qi. So it's very similar to like how you have the circulatory system for blood, only this is a series of a network of pathways for circulating qi. Now, qi is so important for your health because qi helps move the physical things in your body. It helps move the blood. The blood and the qi have like a symbiotic relationship. It helps with the direction when you're breathing air. It helps to direct the qi down into your lungs. When you eat food, it helps to direct the qi down through your digestive system. So like if the qi is not flowing as it should, then that leads to physical problems because things are not flowing physically as they should. So a good example would be like, this is a simple one, but if somebody has hiccups, so the qi is supposed to descend for the stomach, but if the qi is going the wrong way, let's say you ate too much of the wrong food, too many greasy foods, and it's causing you to hiccup, then the qi is going up. So that's a very mild case of a disharmony, but things can build up over time, like our lifestyles, our thoughts and feelings, what we eat, all of those things affect our qi. So it's really important that the qi is flowing as it should, because we want these energy meridians to be in balance. So we have 12 primary energy meridians, and they are categorized as either yin meridians or yang meridians. So if you're familiar with the yin yang symbol, it's like that sort of circle, and it looks like two little fish swimming together. And there's a black one and a white one, and there's like a black dot in the white one, a white dot in the black one. So this is really one of the basics of Chinese philosophy, is that everything can be categorized as either yin or yang. So yin represents female, and also water, darkness, cold, and internal, whereas yang represents male, sunlight, action, And in the body, the body can also be categorized as yin and yang. So there's the yin, which is the blood, so it's like the fluids and the structures, and the yang is like the qi, the life force energy, and the functions in the body. So you also have these energy meridians that are categorized as yin or yang, and it's like a relative thing. So even though they're energy pathways, there can be yin ones and there can be yang ones. So for women, it is really, really important because women are naturally more yin. So the yin meridians are the ones that you really need to focus on, which we are going to be diving right into. Is there anything else you wanted to mention, Stephen?
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I visualize it sort of like these are like the big rivers, and then there's the little tributaries that circulate energy elsewhere. So if there's a blockage or a dam in a big river, then you're really not going to get what you need everywhere in your system. So let's talk. If you can go into a little more depth into what are the specific meridians that women need to be attentive to. You know, said for yin imbalances, and that also are important for health and sleep and energy.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is about the 3 essential points for women. So the 3 essential points, if you already guessed it, they are related to the yin meridians. So what I want to share with people is first a very powerful acupressure point. It's called spleen 6, but it's also called 3 yin crossing or 3 yin intersection because of the location of this point. It crosses over like 3 of these yin branches, these yin meridians actually pass through this point. So it's like a 3-for-1 type of point. And the meridians it passes through are the spleen, the kidney, and the liver. So those are the 3 essential Chinese reflexology points, and they're the 3 essential yin meridians. So when you massage this point, which is technically located on the spleen meridian, which is why it's called spleen 6, but when you're massaging it, you're also helping to balance not just the spleen, but also the liver and the kidney. And I'm going to get into why each of these organs and meridians is so important. But first, I just want to mention at the beginning here is that some of the points, acupressure points and some of the reflexology points are close to acupressure or acupuncture points that are not recommended for pregnant women. So especially the spleen 6 one, this one's actually used to induce labor. So it's best if you're pregnant not to massage these points. But for everyone else, reflexology and acupressure is a very complementary healing system because it helps support the body's natural healing process. So it helps to bring your qi back into balance so that your body then is able to heal itself from whatever it's facing. So this point, why don't we just get hands-on first, and then I'll start explaining so you guys can be massaging your feet or massaging this point at the same time. So I have here, all right, get ready for this, dun, 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 my totally creepy blue foot. So it'll be good for Halloween, if anything, after this call. This one thing I want to mention too, though. Normally I don't have a creepy plastic blue foot to demonstrate points, but just because of the technology we're using to stream out this workshop, I have to use my plastic foot, which is waving at you. So this point, spleen 6, let me explain it to you. You want to find it on the inside of your legs. So the yin meridians are, and one way to think of it is yin is internal. So yin-ternal, there's my little pun, I guess. And yin, like if you think of like farmers in the fields when they're bent over the field, the yin would be like the front of the body and the inside, and the yang would be like the back exposed to the sun. So that's how they differentiate yin and yang meridians. So this yin meridian, spleen 6, is on the inside then of the leg. And the way to locate it, this one doesn't have a very prominent ankle, but let's say right here is the ankle of the inside of this foot. So you're going to find the highest point on that ankle. And what you're going to do, and this is unique for each person, is you're going to measure using your own hand. So you're going to take the 4 finger widths and you're going to place that. So you'll find that prominence there, and then you'll place your hand so that it's sort of like perpendicular to your leg, but along that, just above that ankle. And then let's see if I can switch hands like a magic trick here. Then you're going to find that spleen 6 point right above where those 4 fingers are. Now, the thing to note is when you follow that ankle and you feel along the tibia, which is your shin bone. So you can kind of feel up along the ankle, and then right behind that shin bone at that four-finger width level is going to be your spleen 6 point. So what you can do, and we'll put my plastic foot down. Let's pretend we're using my hand now. So I'll just pretend this is it. This isn't it here, but if you can just press on that point lightly. So you can do a light massage, maybe like a light circular massage, and you could do that for about 30 seconds. So people, as you're watching right now, you can do that right now. Feel for that high point on the inside ankle. Remember, it's the yin side ankle. And you're gonna just put your hand up there, four-finger widths, and then feel up along the bottom edge of the tibia, the shin bone there. And then right above those four-finger widths is going to be spleen 6. So you can just press and hold, or press and massage with small, gentle circles. So while you're doing that, I'm going to explain why these meridians are so important. So we'll start with the spleen, because this is one that really most definitely was affected for me when I was going through that really stressful period. So the spleen is this organ that is affected by worry and also affected by overthinking. So if you're in your head too much, you're doing I was doing a very analytical job, then it's going to hurt your spleen. Now, the reason the spleen is so important is because the spleen has a very important function in Chinese medicine, which Western medicine doesn't see it that way, but it helps to what it's referred to as transform and transport. And what it does is it's kind of like, I'd say it's a bit like a FedEx for taking the food that you eat and distributing it throughout the body. So it's very essential for digestion for the spleen to be strong and healthy. And when I say spleen, I don't mean just the organ, but also the energy meridian. So when Chinese medicine refers to an organ, it's not just the physical organ, but also the energy meridian, as well as the yin and yang elements associated with that particular organ. So with the spleen, it needs to be strong in order for you to digest your food efficiently. When there's a problem with the spleen, that's when people have problems with digestion. But the fallout from that is if you're not getting the food digested efficiently and the nutrients distributed efficiently through the body, then you're not getting the energy that you need. So people with a spleen disharmony, they're going to feel very tired, especially if you have trouble getting up in the morning. That's a sure sign that the spleen has weakness, because you don't want to get out of bed. You just don't have energy. You have like this fatigue about you. Now, that's why the spleen is important for women as you get older, because I'm sure a lot of women are finding it gets harder to maintain your weight, right? So you think, well, I'm exercising, I'm watching my diet, what's going on? So it could be that over years of this worrying and thinking too much, and other factors affect the spleen too, but those are really predominant ones, is that the spleen qi becomes weak. And then the digestion then becomes weaker, and then you don't have the energy. So then you don't have the energy. So then you don't feel like moving as much. And the other thing too is the spleen helps with the, let's just say it's kind of like the management of fluids in the body. So when somebody has a weakness at the spleen, where there's not enough spleen yang or spleen qi energy, then the fluids are not being managed as efficiently in the body. So Chinese medicine views this fluid sort of like they see fat as kind of like a accumulation of this fluid in the body. So when somebody doesn't have that energy and that fire, then it becomes, their body gets more sluggish, they feel more sluggish, so they exercise less, but also the body is less efficient at clearing out this excess, we'll just call it, fat or fluid, and then they have a propensity to gain weight. So it's really important then to, aside from just, massaging points, to look at, are you sweating the small stuff? How can you, worry less and get more into relaxing and not needing to keep everything in your head? So that was what was going on for me. I was most definitely, when I was working in high tech, thinking too much. So that was affecting my spleen. And when you massage this point, let's bring our foot back here, this spleen 6 point right about there, four-finger widths above the ankle, then that can help with harmonizing this meridian. Now, I mentioned it also crosses over two other yin meridians. So another very important reflexology point is the liver. So I want to mention too that just because we only have so much time right now during this session, I can only have time to show you like when I present things, I try to think about what is the best thing I can share in the time that I have with you, whether it's, a few minutes while you're reading an article on my blog, or it's this time that we have together. Like, how can I touch your life and make a difference? And, obviously, the more time we have together, the more I can share with you and the more impact that's going to have. But in this time, what can I share with you? So the reflexology point I do want to share with you is coming up. And this is like the one point that if there's one point you're going to massage, this is the most important one. So that's why I really wanted to share that one with you. But I'm going to talk about the liver right now. So the liver is another one of those yin meridians, and it's very, very important, especially for women, because of what we experience in our life that men do not, which is menstruation. So with the monthly cycle, you lose a lot of blood. So in Chinese medicine, the blood is so essential for the liver. Like one of the liver's roles is to store the blood when it's not being used. Like say you're exercising, then the liver will, send that blood to the limbs. And then when you're done and you're resting, then the liver will store the blood. That's the Chinese medicine theory behind it. So it's so important for the liver then to have this abundant supply of blood, but women, we're losing this blood every month, so we need to replenish it. And the thing too, though, is like the blood is like it's like a home for the qi. It's kind of like the qi nourishes the blood, but the blood is also like this anchor to hold the qi, because qi is like the energy, and it kind of has that, like if you think of fire, it's going up, and then the yin element then helps bring the yang and counterbalance it. So if there's not enough blood for the liver, then it starts to affect the yang element because it's not helping to, pull it down. So what I was experiencing also, I should mention that the liver is affected by stress and anger. So I had a lot of that. I was so stressed out. And then I had this underlying anger because I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't saying this was too much. I was like, how can they keep dumping all this on me? Isn't it obvious? But it wasn't, because I wasn't saying anything, because I was just being, the good Asian woman and just doing my job. And so all of that then, though, affects the liver. And the liver has a very, very important role in ensuring the smooth flow of qi throughout that network of energy pathways in your body. So if the liver is not nourished with a sufficient supply of blood, I'm going to just show how it all connects. Like if you're not getting enough of those nutrients and your body's not able to produce enough of that blood, then the blood's not nourishing the liver, then the liver is not sending the qi around properly, then it's affecting the flow of the energy, you're starting to get tired. The other thing with the insufficiency of the blood to counterbalance the yang is as I was demonstrating with my hands, the fire goes up. And then that affects your head, because it's supposed to be anchored down, this yang energy. But when the liver is out of balance, it's getting overheated, and then all of this energy goes up. And that's what causes the insomnia. And that is what is also causing, like when you're feeling irritable and stressed, it's not just that you're having a bad day and there's bad circumstances. There can be like a physiological reason from a Chinese medicine perspective why this is going on and why it's affecting your head. I mean, the liver is, when there's anybody who has like depression or moodiness or irritability, Chinese medicine will always look at the liver. And so that is why it's a very important organ. And since I've shown you that point, spleen 6, which is the 3 yin crossing, you can massage that point. I'll bring it all together when we get closer to the end, after I cover all these points on how you can practice these as a simple routine. But I wouldn't recommend massaging the Chinese reflexology point for the liver, and primarily because the liver also has the Western role of filtering toxins from the blood. So over time, the liver then can start to kind of accumulate and hold toxins, like long held toxins in the body. You know, when you go get a deep tissue massage and then you feel great for a few minutes, and then later that evening you're all achy all over. It's because the body's flushing out these long held toxins. So the liver is like it's like a giant sponge for these toxins. So you shouldn't be massaging that point until your body is, you know, brought up to the level where it can flush out those toxins. Otherwise, you're going to be feeling worse. But it is also a very essential point for women. Now, the one point though that I do want to show you, this is the most important one. This is the kidney point. Now, the kidney is so important because in Chinese medicine, the kidney is considered like the root of life. It's like it has like the organs, but it also has like the yin and yang elements, and it has something unique to it, which is referred to as kidney jing. So jing is like, it's also referred to as essence. So kidney jing is like your kidneys are like a storage or a battery for your life force energy. So this jing is like this reservoir of life force energy for you to live your life. So what happens though is that if you have a tendency to overgive, if you put other people ahead of yourself, or if you were like me, I was always like, okay, I don't have time for self-care. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Then you're withdrawing from your jing, from your energy stores. So it's like a cell phone battery. You're drawing it down. And then if you're not, if your spleen and your liver are out of balance too, then you might not be getting the nutrients you need, because that's another source of energy. But if you're not feeding yourself that way, then you're drawing down from this life force energy battery, this reservoir that's supposed to sustain you for your whole life. So it's like living off a credit card instead of actually, you know, having savings. Like you got so much money, and then instead of managing your money wisely, you're just spending it down. So that's what, when you're overgiving, it's like you're spending your energy and your chi, and it's got to come from somewhere. And what happens is you spend it when you're younger, which is what I was doing, and then you get, you know, whacked all of a sudden when you need to be living off your savings of energy, but you've been spending it all. So it's really important to replenish this. So think of it like, you know, you're replenishing your bank account. And the way you can do this, one way to do it, is through the Chinese reflexology point for the kidneys. So we're going to bring back my plastic foot here, and I'm going to walk you through how to locate this point. So let me just see if I can get this whole foot in the camera. All right, so there's going to be 5 steps to locating it, and I'm going to walk you through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So step 1 is you're going to divide your foot in half horizontally. So what you'll want to do is you want to measure from the tip of the big toe and the base of the heel, and then divide that in half. So let's see if I can kind of do this. So I'm going to imagine this horizontal line dividing my foot in half. So everybody, as you're watching me, you can also pull up your foot and take a look at your sole. So you have a kidney point on both soles, but we're going to start with just whichever one matches the one you're looking at for this plastic foot. So I know camera angles and stuff can mess it up. So this is a left foot that I have here. And I usually do start with the left foot. So that's step 1, dividing your foot in half horizontally. Super easy, right? Then step 2 is you're going to divide this foot in half vertically. So imagine a line going straight through all the way down. So then if you picture that, you've got 4 quadrants. And then step 3, again, very simple. I like to break things down, make it easy for you to follow. You're going to locate that line under the ball of the foot. So one way to help you locate that is to actually just pull back your toes. I can demonstrate with my hand here. You pull back your toes though, and then it sort of like the ball then becomes more prominent. So then you're going to have 3 lines. You're going to have the horizontal line, you're going to have the vertical line that makes those 4 quadrants, and then you're going to have that line under the ball of the foot. So this is all imagining this on the sole of your foot. Now, the kidney point is going to be primarily in the top inside quadrant. So that's going to be the quadrant with the big toe. It's going to be, you know, above that horizontal halfway line, and it's going to be below that ball of the foot. And it's going to be primarily on the inside. Now, the reason I say primarily is because, it's not that, I wish it was so simple I could just say, put it in the inside quadrant, but it's not. That's why we have a couple more steps. So you're going to take your thumb. So your kidney point is approximately about the width of your thumb. These are guidelines and they'll help you get to pretty close to where the point is. And you're going to place that. So I'm going to have to just take a look at this foot, make sure I'm placing it correctly, and then I'll show you. So you're going to place it so that, pardon me, it is below the ball of the foot, but it is also above, the pad is above that horizontal halfway line. And you want to place it so that it's like right in the middle, like on that vertical dividing line. And then the last step is you're just going to move that thumb, just slide it over a smidge to the inside quadrant. And what you want to aim for is that 2/3 of the thumb width is in the inside quadrant and 1/3 is in the outside quadrant. And again, it's under the ball of the foot and above the horizontal halfway line, and primarily in the inside quadrant. So once you do that, you've got your points, you put your thumb on there, and then you slide it over a little. Right where your thumb pad is going to be your kidney point. So the way to massage this, and I'll demonstrate this on my hand, there's a couple ways you can do it. Well, actually 3 ways. You could just press with your thumb and go up and down. So when I say up and down, I mean towards the toes and then down towards the heel. So you always want to massage in that direction for the kidney. Another thing you can do is you can take your knuckle and you can press and rub. So everyone watching, you can try this at home since you've located your kidney point. And another way you can do it is you can just do small circles and rub down and then go back up. And you could do that for, say, 30 seconds right now and do that on your left foot. And then you want to do it on your right foot. So I'll walk you through this one more time because I want to make sure you get this right. Unfortunately, I don't have a right foot. I tried to order a plastic right foot and they didn't have any. Why only left foot? Okay, so I'm going to have to imagine this is a right foot. I wish I could flip it around. But again, same thing. So you're just going to imagine that horizontal line dividing the foot in half. Just make sure you're measuring from the toe tip instead of, sometimes people measure from the base of the toes. Now you want to measure from here. And then you're going to divide in half vertically, and then you're going to pull back those toes on your right foot and you'll identify the bottom of the ball of the foot. And then you'll take your thumb and, let me do this here, place it on the foot so that it's like in line, parallel to that vertical line, but it's like right in the middle. And then you're going to slide it over just a little bit so that it's a little more on the inside. Again, 2/3 on the inside quadrant, 2/3 of the thumb width, and 1/3 in the outside quadrant. And it's below the ball of the foot and above the horizontal halfway line. So then again, you can just massage on the other foot. You can do that up, down towards the toe, down to the heel. You can do it with your thumb pad, you can do it with your knuckle, or you can press and massage in small circles. So that is pretty much it for the kidney point. This point is so beneficial. Oh, sorry, what did you want to say, Stephen?
So helpful what you're sharing, and just want to just may ask a few questions about when it's good to be doing this and sort of the rhythm. Since I appreciate how you're saying this helps to restore and replenish your bank account, your energetic bank account, and so I guess you're wanting to be making deposits more regularly, especially if you tend to be spending your energy in different ways on a stressful job or over giving to other people, as you said.
Yeah, so actually that's great because now that you've learned the spleen 6 3-yin crossing and you've learned this kidney point, what you can do is, like, you don't want to over massage your points. Like the points I'm showing you, like the kidney is one that's a very replenishing point. So you can massage this more than other points. But what I would recommend, because bringing your body back into balance is about taking a balanced approach. So sometimes people, they learn this stuff and they go, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And then they go a little bit overboard. So then they're rubbing their feet and their hand gets sore, or they irritate the skin on their foot. And then that's not healing. That's not balance. So what I would recommend is for this kidney point, you can massage these points daily for 30 to 60 seconds on each foot. For the spleen 6 point, I would recommend you could massage that one for 30 seconds, but I wouldn't recommend doing it every day. It's not quite the same as the kidney point, which is much more restorative. But I would recommend doing that, say you could do that every other day or twice a week. So you can do the kidney 30 to 60 seconds every day, and the spleen 6 point, you can press and massage that for 30 seconds, say 2 to 3 times a week.
That's great. And one of these also correspond to what you call the 3 yin crossing. Is that the spleen 6?
Yeah, spleen 6 is 3 yin crossing. So the 3 yin channels, the kidney, the liver,
Gotcha.
and the spleen.
And just to confirm, should we be feeling anything different in these spots? Because I know people have done a fair amount of body work and massage. They're used to kind of going for where there's tension or pain or something. But is there any signal that you're in the right place?
With the spleen 6, one way you can feel is if you're feeling along that bone there, that shin bone, there's like a tiny little notch there, and that's actually the spleen 6. So if you're into body work, you can palpate and feel that. But if you're just feeling it and trying to, can I sense my chi there? No, not usually, not typically. But with the reflexology point, the kidney point is one that tends to be very sensitive in people. So I'm glad you asked that question. And the reason why it's sensitive, as I mentioned when I went to see the reflexologist the first time, my points were so sensitive, is the sensitivity indicates like a disharmony going on in the body. So the more sensitive the point is, the more likely it is that this is something that is at the physical level or something that has been going on a long time. But when you massage the point regularly, it helps to restore balance to that organ and also restore balance to that energy meridian, because the feet points, they connect to these energy meridians. So it's like they're like these master control points for helping to balance things in the body. But it does take time. This isn't like Western medicine where, okay, you've got this symptom, take this pill, and then, ooh, the symptom's gone. But guess what? The underlying issue is still there. Now, this is about bringing the body back into balance over time. So it may take several weeks before you start to notice that the point becomes less sensitive. The other thing too is it's like a clue. It's like, if this point is sensitive, what is it telling me? Because something that I'm doing in my lifestyle or something that I'm holding in my body, like whether a negative emotion or long-standing pain or hurt from the past, it's affecting the flow of chi in my body. So it's so important that as you massage these points, it helps to kind of loosen any sort of stuck energy and clear it, but it also helps loosen and clear like stuck emotions too. So one thing I really want to emphasize is the importance of the mind-body connection to your chi, because like your thoughts and your feelings affect the flow of chi in your body. So when you're stressed, like when I was working in high tech, I was tense all the time. Now imagine energy trying to flow through all this tension. And one of the things like acupuncturists do is they actually like feel the pulse, and your pulse has different qualities, not just counting how many beats, but somebody who's really tense, that pulse, actually that blood vessel feels like a tight wire. So that then affects the flow of chi in your body. So the other thing too is like when you have different emotions going on, so like the worry and the overthinking, that affects the spleen, the anger and the stress and frustration affects the liver. And for the kidney, it's about fear. That's the emotion associated with the kidney. So it might not be like, big scare, but it could be something pervasive or something going on or something that you've held, say, from childhood. Oftentimes I see a lot of people where something they experienced in childhood, they still hold it inside their body at the subconscious level. And it's so important to clear it, because while it may not be affecting you physically, it actually could be, you might not know it, it is definitely affecting the flow of chi. So it's so important to clear. So as you massage these points, be, about speaking about time, like take it easy that day, be nurturing to yourself, drink lots of room temperature or warm water to help flush out toxins. And one more thing is to not massage while you're eating, like about an hour away from meals. And that's because, when you're eating, the chi and the energy is focused on digestion. So when you massage away from the time that you're eating, then it's much more effective that way, because then your chi is not focused on the digestion.
Fascinating. Well, I mean, there's so many layers to the overall philosophy and the practice here that I love the specificity. It's kind of remarkable that in just a minute or so, a minute or two a day, you can actually unblock the flow of qi in your body and have all these downstream benefits. It's pretty remarkable that everybody isn't doing it, because it just seems like, wow, that is something that is a great investment in your health and a great investment even in your longevity. I thought it's interesting the way you shared about your own story and how you started to develop symptoms that were very much further down the road. So it's like you were accelerating your time clock and then you had to turn it back with all of reflexology.
Yeah, definitely. So the thing is with qi and massaging, it's kind of like when you take up exercise and you're older, like it still has benefit. It doesn't matter what age you are that you start. The main thing is that you start. So I hope that everyone who's watching will begin to pay attention to your feet, because there's just so many messages there. Like with the kidney, if that point is sensitive, you have to look at, am I pushing myself too hard? Am I, putting others ahead of me all the time? Do I need to take time, to rest and to nurture myself? There's just so many powerful messages in the feet.
Fantastic. Well, we are in for a real treat in your upcoming program as well. So I want to take some time now to talk about that, since it's really clear that you're very focused, as you said, in making sure that people get as much benefit as they can from the time you have available. So we're very excited that you're going to be doing the upcoming program on Chinese reflexology for women. And so this is going to go into hormones and energetic blocks and vitality, really a more systemic look, and from that deep foundation of a very holistic look at what contributes to our health and well-being, which is what reflexology and Chinese medicine in general is so skilled at. So it's going to be a 7-week program, and it's going to start in just a few weeks. And Holly, I'd love for you to share about what you're going to be, what people are going to get in this program, and take a tour of the modules.
Okay. Yeah. I want to just do like a real high level about the modules, because I want people to really appreciate that this isn't about body parts. Like, okay, we do this point, then that's, we're going to cover points for, these 3 essential Chinese reflexology points, and also points for the reproductive system, the breasts, and also for hormone balancing. But it's not just about these points. So it's about looking at you as a whole. So you're not just your breasts and your reproductive organs and your liver and kidney, spleen, but who are you as you? Because when I choose these points for teaching this course, like I mentioned before, we have this time together for 7 weeks. How can I impart the most value and the most, transformative information here? So it's a very systematic approach. It's kind of like, like you could give someone a pair of scissors to cut hair. Like, let's say I could give it to my son, he's 8. And, an 8-year-old, they can use scissors, right? But do you want them cutting your hair? No, because it's important to understand the meaning behind why you're doing these movements, and to understand the intent, because as I said, your thoughts and feelings affect the flow of qi. So this isn't just about manual press this. This is about getting to the underlying emotions, to delve deeper and to really understand why you are massaging these points. So I have to take a very systematic approach. And when I picked these points, they were especially for women, the ones that, if you're only with me for 7 weeks, these are the ones that are going to make the biggest difference. So there's this hashtag going around on Facebook right now, which is Me Too. I don't know if you've seen that yet. Have you?
I've seen it, yes.
Yeah. So women are posting on Facebook if they've been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. So women, we have this position where we're in this modern world that is very yang, male energy focused, and traditionally women have kind of had to hold themselves back. But when you're holding yourself back, it's like you're holding your energy back. Where does that go, right? It doesn't go anywhere. You're congesting it in yourself. So that's why it was so important for me to teach this course, because it's not just about the points. You can learn about the points on the page, which I'm sure, Stephen, you'll give later.
Actually, I should just say it right now. It's the page for the course is Reflexology for forwomen.com. That's F-O-R, women.com, reflexology4women.com.
Yeah, so you can see, you know, module by module, I explain exactly what we covered, but I need to convey it like talking to you and to help you understand what my intention was for this course. It's not just about reflexology, it's about empowerment. So as I was saying about this hashtag, I mean, so many women I know put me too on their status on Facebook, and you know what, me too. And I had the experience not just of being sexually harassed, but the kind of flip side of it. So there's that, oh, you're pretty, so you're going to draw this harassment, like kind of that sort of sense. But also when I was growing up, I really didn't care about how I looked or what I wore. And I grew up at the time where, you know, big hair and big boobs was very considered, you know, the standard of beauty. And actually thin lips weren't fashionable back then. And I do not have thin lips. So now we're kind of looking back like, how could that be fashionable? But that was what was the fashion then. And Yoko Ono was considered, she was declared on this tabloid that I saw in the supermarket when I was a young girl that said, she's the ugliest woman in the world. And I look a lot more like Yoko Ono than I do like Farrah Fawcett. So I know that so many women have been through these experiences. So I had the sense of feeling ugly too, and being harassed because men would go out of their way to tell me I was ugly. I would have teenage boys. I'd be walking down the street and somebody would bark at me and call me a dog, like just yell it out. So I had to deal with that. So I know there's women you've had the harassment because, you know, you're too pretty, and you've had the harassment because you're not pretty enough, right? And all of that, you hold that stuff in your body. It doesn't go away like, okay, you know, all right, I don't have to deal with that guy. He's out of my, you know, field of vision. But all of these little tiny cuts, almost like that you hold inside your body. So in this course, when we get to the points about the reproductive system, I really want to get into what I call the dragon spirit space to help you get into those deep stuck energy inside and be able to clear it. So this isn't just about health. This is also a course about healing those deep wounds and helping you to feel empowered, to really realize your own power, to kind of throw off all that Me Too stuff, that ickiness, and feel clear and good about yourself.
Well, I appreciate you bringing in the Me Too as well, because I think women have all taken on a lot from the world in a patriarchal culture. And so I think this healing work is so important, especially healing work that is steady day by day, not necessarily big and dramatic, but it's like to mitigate the effects of a stressful culture in different ways. And so I love that you integrate all your dragon spirit teaching, you're bringing in reflexology, also talking a bit about chakras and your own soul's wisdom. So this is a very comprehensive approach that's drawing from the deep stream of reflexology, but also bringing in some other modalities as well that deal with mental and emotional energy and physical health. So this is really a program for women who are post-40, menopausal or later, that might be concerned about shifting hormones. You might be concerned about just sleep issues or energy issues. Sometimes it's about, like, also with some of the energy declines of age, like being able to have enough life force to really manifest your larger mission at this point in your life too. Because we find that we have a whole telesummit on the third act, that a lot of women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond are really seeing this like, wow, this could be my time to really bring out my greatest gifts. And so doing this kind of basic self-care in a very steady way can be so helpful to making that successful. So I'll share a little bit more about it. First, again, you can go to reflexology4women.com, and maybe if you could just give us a brief tour of the modules so people have a little bit of sense of the flow of information and what you're going to be teaching, Holly.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll go through this quickly. Let me just bring it up on my iPad. I want to make sure that I got everything.
While she's bringing up, I'll say the course is going to be on Thursdays at noon Pacific time. It's always and if you can't, that's noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. So even if you can't make the live time, I strongly encourage you to do the course, because it's going to be all on video. All the videos will be available shortly after the live course, and we do transcripts and audios for every single class. So you really have the time to to practice this, learn it, and there's going to be helpful things to also have demonstration graphics and stuff that you can apply at home. So Holly, you want to share the modules?
Yeah, sure. So the first module is boosting your life force for a fountain of youth. So this is really about that kidney organ and energy meridian. We're going to get much more into this on how it impacts your energy levels, how it affects like your longevity, what it has to do with, even your hair and your nerves and your bones. So much of premature aging is related to the kidneys. So you're going to learn all about that and how to boost your life force. Module 2 is strengthening digestion for energy and metabolism. So this is where you're going to learn about that very important spleen point and all of the things that affect the spleen. So I mentioned about the worrying and the emotional things, but there's also things in your lifestyle, especially if you're overgiving and you're doing too much, that can be affecting the spleen and leading to that spleen weakness that could, affect weight loss or cause you to have a propensity to gain weight. So we're going to delve into that. Now for module 3, it's Chinese reflexology as medicine to harmonize your body. And this is where we start getting to the points for the endocrine system. So you want to get that foundation. Like I have this very systematic approach. It's not just throw some points at you, but we want to do these first, and then as time passes, your body starts to get back into balance. And then it's time now we can introduce these endocrine points to you to help balance your hormones. Because if you just do the endocrine without starting to balance the other stuff, then it's almost kind of like you're only getting half of it. Module 4 is getting your chi flowing for beauty, blood, and bliss. And this one is about the liver. So I'm going to show you this point. And again, like I said, I have this systematic approach. I don't want to throw that liver at you first thing, but after, we're getting into about the midway in the course, this is when, we've had that time together with the Q&A. I know that you're confident with massaging your kidney and your spleen and you're working on those endocrine points so that now you're ready to learn about the liver. Module 5 is creating the foundation for healthy breasts by getting it off your chest. So we're really going to get into that dragon spirit work and really letting go of a lot of that stuff that women really hold on their chest. And, partly because, the breasts are this sexualized object in our society. So we hold so much there, and you'll learn how to massage a point that helps clear away a lot of the stuff. So I had one person email me that she was practicing my Chinese reflexology for healthy breast routine. And she got her first clear mammogram in 4 years because she was practicing this for several months. So again, it's not the fast fix. It's something, the day-to-day practice that over time changes things. So it's very much like a yin approach to healing versus the yang Western medical, let's just hit you with a whole bunch of antibiotics. This is, that like the tortoise versus the hare. And we're going to be together for these 7 weeks in this course to allow these shifts. Like when you clear stuff emotionally, you can't just go, okay, done, right? You kind of have to let it marinate a bit. And that's why it's really great that we're going to be together for these 7 weeks. Module 6 is replenishing yin and yang for divine feminine power. So this is where we get into the reproductive system and points to support that. And again, a lot of clearing and healing, because when in a society where women are highly sexualized, there's all that stuff that you hold inside, and it's so important to clear that. And it's also really good for your creative energy. So when you're heading into this chapter in your life where you're like, I can make a difference, I can follow my passions and share my gifts, this creative energy is so important to support. And then finally in module 7, it's amazing integration to create the next chapter of your life. So as I was saying, we're going to take everything together, and you're going to have, at the end of this 7 weeks, you're going to have this reflexology routine that I've carefully chosen these points to be the most, impactful and most transformative that I can share with you over these 7 weeks together.
Fantastic. Well, it's really a great program, so illuminating and so practical. I'll share a few more things about it. So first of all, it's 7 weeks of video, which You're not going to have the blue foot. You're going to have real live clips of demonstrations and a lot of opportunity to engage with Holly and ask her questions. We also have an online learning community. You get the video recordings, you get audio recordings, so if you want to listen to the classes as well, and we do word-for-word PDF transcripts. So this is super helpful so that you can do it anytime. The course begins on November 9th, and it's going to, as I said, run on Thursdays at noon Pacific time. And Holly's been generous in sourcing a bunch of really great extra bonuses for this. There's one called Dragon Spirit Meditation for Harmony and Clarity. Again, you can see more details on these at Reflexology for Women, FORwomen.com, reflexologyforwomen.com. So the Dragon Spirit Meditation is sort of one of her signature things, is blending some of the energetic modalities and accessing higher levels of consciousness, blending that with the work with reflexology. There's also a bonus called a Power Pack of Charts, and this includes the Accountability and Progress chart and the full color foot reflexology chart. Holly, you want to share about that's a really practical, helpful adjunct to what you're teaching.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because when you see all the points on the feet, it helps give you kind of like a frame of reference for locating these points. And then sometimes you might even just have like a sore spot on your foot and you go, what is that? So you can look at these charts and go, oh, this is my, a blank point, and that must mean, I need to kind of that whatever I ate, at dinner, that new, meal or whatever didn't agree with me. So you can learn from your feet and then tune in and figure out what's that message that my feet are trying to tell me.
Great. We also have a Dragon Spirit coloring series, Beautiful Beginnings, Volume 1. This is valued at $24.95 just by itself. Again, you can find more details on reflexologyforwomen.com. And I should mention also that we have that there's an extra bonus that's available just today only until midnight. We like to do this as an extra incentive for you to go over to the page at reflexologyforwomen.com. Give it a read through, read the testimonials, and tune in with your own knowing. And if you recognize that you could really benefit from this and this would be a valuable next step for you, then you have an extra incentive to do so today. So that's called Chinese Reflexology for Headaches and Migraines. This is a whole separate course. It's valued at $49. Holly, you want to share a little bit more about that special bonus for today registration?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a lot of people, I think migraines and headaches is one of the main causes of pain in people. So this online course is like the points to help clear that pain away, and it works almost instantly. I get so many messages from people. In fact, this morning I got an email from someone who suffers from vestibular headaches, and she said, this really helped me. So you could go get acupuncture, and that costs you like $50 to $100 a pop every time your head hurts, or you could take pills that just mask the symptoms but don't address the underlying root cause. But this course will explain some of those root causes to you so that you understand why you're getting the headaches, and then you also have a very simple routine to learn how to clear away the pain.
Fantastic. Well, again, that's available as the special launch bonus when you sign up today until midnight. That's the Chinese Reflexology for Headaches and Migraine course, which is $49 just by itself. So we've kept the investment in this program very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $109, or you save about 10% when you pay in full at $297. And I encourage you to just go over to the page at reflexologyforwomen.com and read through some of the testimonials. There's like, Holly is amazing. She helped with my baby girl. There's a lot of great testimonials because there's real fruits of doing this practice. It's not just abstract evolution of consciousness. There's healing of real physical issues. There's restoration of energy. There's balancing hormones. There's just a real sense of you being empowered to take control of your health and well-being rather than feeling buffeted about by the stressors of the outer world and stressors of outer life, that you can really, as she said, replenish your bank account, restore your energy, harmonize your chi so that you can really be your optimal self. So it's a great program, and again, you can find all the details at reflexologyforwomen.com. And Holly, what a great hour. You're really fantastic to learn from, so interesting, and I like your quirky sense of humor too as well. Is fun. And so let's With the blue foot, yes. So let's we have a minute or so. Just want to speak directly to folks who, anything that you want to share about the upcoming program and a heartfelt invitation that you might not have shared yet.
Yeah, I really like how you mentioned this is about empowerment, not just women's empowerment, but in being empowered to take command of your health. Chinese reflexology, it's so simple to learn and practice, and that almost makes it deceptive in like how powerful it is. Like it transformed my life. It took me from that weird year of illness and ailments to like within a year and a half of when I started learning and practicing on myself, I was gone from wondering if I was dying to I was training for my first triathlon. So it helps so many people when you practice this regularly and you learn how to practice on yourself with this healing intention. I cannot see how you can not see an improvement in your health. I hear from so many people all around the world how, you know, they're sleeping better, their digestion is better, their circulation is better, weird sort of ailments are, you know, clearing up. It's so simple to try, like at least try, because it makes a difference in your health and vitality. And that's what I really, really want for everyone, not just for women, but for men. So men can massage the points in this workshop too. But when you're empowered with your health, when you realize that you're in command of your health, you realize that it's not just health, it's all areas of your life are affected, so that you then start to feel empowered in other areas of your life. And for me, like the bigger picture is like, how can I make a contribution to the world? Well, if everyone was feeling better physically, I'm sure we would have a lot happier world. People would be a lot more in tune to their inner guidance. They would be making decisions, not just, you know, purely from this physical agitation because their liver meridian's out of balance, but because they're feeling balanced and grounded. And we'd have a very, very different world, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing Chinese reflexology with you, and why whatever I do, whether it's this, you know, quick 1 hour, or it's a blog post, or it's a 7-week course, I really pour my heart and soul into it. And I want you to get as much as you can out of that time that we have together.
Awesome. Well, your passion is very infectious, and I love everything you're saying. That it's like when our health is really great, then we can do everything else to serve the world and grow and create our best contributions. So what a great program you're offering. Chinese Reflexology for Women. You can find it at reflexologyforwomen.com, F-O-R women.com. It starts on November 9th. And again, you get the Reflexology for Headaches and Migraines, the $49 course, when you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you, Holly. Been very informative and really inspiring hour. And thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing many of you in the upcoming program. And you can, again, sign up at reflexologyforwomen.com. Many blessings. Thanks all.
Thank you.